Y'all, I am so excited about my guest today. He has been killing it for over 30 years in the industry. We're talking about a man who has literally done it all, going from stage to screen and back again. You know him from Rent, and then he had us all trying to get our groove back with Miss Angela Bassett. He's been in some of the most beloved rom-coms of all time, The Best Man, Brown Sugar, The Wood, my favorite, and he's starred in TV hits like Private Practice and All American. To top it all off, he's also a proud dad. Taye Diggs, welcome to the show. Come on out here, Taye.
Okay.
That was perfect.
What's
It's
happening?
so good to see you.
Likewise.
Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. We see each other around
Yes.
all the time, but I ain't never got a chance to really sit down and talk to you.
No, and you're one of these people. We were just talking about you today, me and my son. Can I tell?
Guys, I messed up.
Yo, I came in with one of my best friends, my assistant, and he's in his 30s. And she was like, oh, is that your son? Like, with confidence. And my heart was like...
Literally, it's because Walker is on my mind. Your son
Yes,
Walker's on my
yes.
mind. So I'm like, that's Walker.
We just
I
came
don't
from
know
his
how
basketball game, yeah.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that's not my son. Walker's 15 years old,
Oh my gosh.
and he's playing AAU.
Wow.
Yeah, and he won his first game, and we left in the middle of the second game. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad you were able to come down
Yes,
here and
thank
hang
you.
with me.
Thank you.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
I mean, you're all over TikTok. I mean, you're here with me. I mean, it's so funny because I was hearing an interview where you said you actually are an introvert, which is so interesting because
That's why I mess with that, because it's just me and the phone, and I can do it in my car. You know what I mean? I can just express, but sometimes, I mean, you don't have those moments when anxiety comes and all of a sudden, like I was nervous for this. You know what I mean? When I think
Really?
about it, yeah. I mean, you're one of those people where, I'm older because I can have a 30-year-old son. And I saw you in Aquila and the Bee.
Yes.
And you were like talented then, and then you just came, and then you were like everywhere.
Oh, man.
And you have such an amazing personality and energy.
Tay,
I
you
was
want to
like,
talk. You want to talk.
No, but I'm not like you though. Like you come with batteries included. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what is her life like?
Oh my
Like every
gosh.
time we see you, you're like just a bright light. And I just, it's great to see.
I really
Yeah,
received that. Well,
please
we
do.
got that Capricorn Virgo energy going on. And I really do live for your social media personality. I mean, when you started out and when I started out, social media and content creation, it wasn't a thing. It didn't exist. It was just traditional
Right.
and that's it. So
Right.
how do you feel that has kind of impacted the way that you approach performance?
Ooh.
Because we get to see this side of you that we didn't
Yes.
always get to see.
I look at it and I'm still not quite, because I'm older, I still don't quite understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those ways the industry is changing that I don't understand. Like I came up in when the business was like, if you're talented, you show your talent, people will appreciate it. They'll go see your movies.
Yep.
And if they go to see your movies, someone will put you in another movie.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, people were like, you got to have followers. And I was like, are followers fans? And I got fans. No, you got to be on Instagram and da-da-da. And I was like, oh, wait, but these people, they're not actors and they have all these followers. Why are they in the same category? And it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. They were still hiring. So I was like, oh, I guess the game is changing and I got to change with it. So how can I keep up with it and still kind of be true to myself? So for me, what made it work was it was like a way of, it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm feeling, I can get on the phone and like perform, do it, and then see how people, react. And luckily, a certain amount of people dug it. So it worked for me. So
do you feel like that was just the changing of the times or also the changing of your life? Because you went from being married, I think you were married to Adina for 10 years and then divorced. I mean, that does, our work and our art always changes. So how did that impact kind of the way you approached art?
You're exactly right. Yeah. And then having a kid, being divorced, all of that in a good way started to kind of break me down and then allow me to grow in a different way. So what's the opposite of being? I said I'm very
Introvert, extrovert.
extrovert.
Yeah, it
That
kind of
part.
pushed you. Yeah.
Yes. I had stuff to say. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I had stuff to say. I was feeling a very, very, working on yourself spiritually,
That's right.
kind of like chops you down and makes you more sensitive. So I was very, very much more, reactionary, reactive.
Yeah.
So it helped. It
Yeah.
lent itself to social media and having little outbursts and singing how I feel and acting out this little skit and whatnot. So
Well, speaking of your son, he's 15.
yes.
Does he have any interest in acting? Would you be happy or not, happy if he wanted to be in entertainment?
It's it's a corny answer. Whatever makes him happy. He's so staunchly against it just because his mother and I do it.
Yeah.
It's the last thing that he wants to do. But he cracks me up. He does like
Oh.
spot on imitations and
Oh my
and
gosh.
he does all the little TikTok. He teaches me the TikTok dances and
Yeah.
but he don't want to like perform. I'd be like, do this with me, like selfishly, do this with me, and we could get however many views.
We could be the father and
He's
son
like,
duo.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm like, but he teaches it to me, and he basketball is his thing.
Yeah.
Basketball. He's a little hooper.
It's so interesting when you talk about your son being funny and then also you're so funny. And I feel like we've seen your humor in your work, but I feel like we've gotten to see it more. Was it just in those early days where you focused on dramas and romances, or was that just really what was coming to you?
I don't know. As actors, we think we can do everything. So I would get so annoyed, like when a casting director would be like, I'd go in to read for something, and they'd be like, "Hey, oh my goodness, you're really funny." And I'm like, "What? Didn't you see? Like, I'm funny and the best man. I'm fun." Like I could name, but that's me.
My divorce.
I'm the same dude that did that. So how you saying why am I funny when do you just? But
Literally.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it just kind of is what happens.
That's my favorite thing to do. I love to dance and I love to be a fool. So I don't know. I don't know why people don't.
Yeah, one of
see me
one of my
as that.
favorite lines, another one of my favorite lines of yours is The Wood, and only people that watch The Wood as many times as I did will catch it. I'ma make her booty jiggle, dude. Like, why would you do it? It's so good. There's so many quotables. Like, I'm telling you,
That
man.
makes me happy.
For me, growing up, The Wood, hands down, was my all-time, to this day, favorite movie. And you were through, I don't think people understand, to be funny, to be grounded, and to play drunk for half of the whole movie. Your character was drunk. Roland was drunk the whole movie.
That was so much
And we
fun.
saw you become sober. I have to ask you about that because that movie was so iconic to me. And it was the first time I feel like I saw my family, like my uncles.
for real.
You know what I'm saying? Like where it wasn't about, we in the hood.
Right,
It was like,
right,
there's
right.
troubles in life, but this is brotherhood and family and friends.
I miss those days because
Oh my
those were the days when that was one of the first movies that portrayed us like that.
That's right.
Best Man was one of the first movies that portrayed different kinds of
Blackness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I miss those days.
Me too. That work, that work is the foundation of what I love about arts. But let's go back to the beginning for you, because you grew up you're the oldest of 5 siblings.
Yes.
You grew up in Rochester, New York.
I did.
How did you get involved with acting? Were you always, your family doing stuff?
My mother. So my mother, I'm the oldest of 5. My mother raised us all to a certain age, and then she went back to school for theater.
Oh, fabulous.
And dance. So we would go to her rehearsals, and she would do community theater. And
Oh my
and I
gosh,
remember
that's my
going
mom
to yeah.
too.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They did her, my dad.
That makes sense. I'd go to her rehearsals and see all these pretty girls, and then, watch her go on stage and watching her transform from mommy to, she was Charlotte in Charlotte's Web and, in Godspell. And I was amazed at watching the transformation. So that kind of rushed over me. And then before I really became exposed to the arts personally, I was very kind of nerdy, insecure, way more introverted than I say I am now.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought I liked sports, but I was always too small. And my mother had the foresight, I think it was 10th grade, to enroll me in a school for the arts. And I had just enough talent to make it in. And then once I entered that school and was accepted just because I had a modicum of talent, the whole world changed. Everybody, it wasn't like I was popular, but I got attention and I was in the play and in the musical and took all these classes. And then that boosted my confidence level. And then once I was like, oh, okay, I got people's attention. I'm gonna stick with this. And then I studied and just took it all the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you remember if you remember the play or the moment you were first on stage, what do you remember that you felt? Especially when you're saying you're an introvert, like, what was that like? Was it a rush for you? Yeah.
Oh, just that applause.
That instant gratification.
Yeah. Like I did something that not just my mom or my cousin or my aunt liked, but all of y'all are clapping for just me. Oh, okay. And then afterwards, the little cute little girls, like all that attention. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna ride this out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride this out.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
So you made your Broadway debut with Carousel in 1994.
Okay, you did your research.
We gotta do, baby, this is Keke Palmer, we gotta be correct. But your first big role, and when I really understood the origination of your role in Rent, 1996.
Oh, man.
I mean, that's so profoundly iconic. Did you realize that would be the impact of that project? I mean, I guess you can't imagine, but I mean, Rent is one of the most popular pieces of art we have.
It was a trip. And this is funny that you say that, because now in hindsight, I'm realizing, because, when you talk about the Wood and when people talk about the best man, I was so focused on like getting somewhere that I never really took the time to appreciate where I was. Even when, because Rent was just another job for me. You know what I mean? I remember I told my agents, I don't want to do any more auditions for musicals. I want to go for film and TV, because I keep getting told, you have a lot of musicals on your resume.
Well, Rick Famuyiwa told me that.
Yeah.
He was like, when he met with you for the Wood, he was like, this is a big theater actor.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I was so tired of hearing that. So I told the people, when they sent me out for Rent, I skipped the audition like 2 times. And then my agent was like, just go, get in front of them and just see what happens. And then once I got the call back as an actor, then I was like, okay, well, no, I got to get this job. And that was the thing that, catapulted me to, I got a soap opera. Then after that soap opera,
Stella Got a Grooves Back.
Yep. And Angela Bassett went and came to see Rent. And she wasn't impressed.
Wait a minute.
She wasn't impressed, but she saw the soap opera. And I was playing this character on Guiding Light called Sugar Hill.
Come on, I love
Sugar
it.
Hill.
Not Sugar Hill, child. Ooh.
And she saw a little bit of sexiness in Sugar Hill. And then she was like, okay, bring him
Now, we
in.
got to go back to her not being impressed with Rent. How did you know? Did the producers tell you this, or how did you know she wasn't feeling it?
No, my agent. Because
Wow.
Rent was it was that show where everybody was like, okay, well, come see these kids in Rent.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, well, we have this young man who's auditioning. How can I see him? Okay, come see the show Rent. And I had the smallest role in Rent of the main characters.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this isn't going to be, I'm not going to get any jump off from this. I'll just ride it out as hard as I can. And then the next thing, that'll be my jump off. And luckily, that's what it was, Angela Bassett. And,
Oh, my
And how
gosh.
Stella got her groove.
I mean, I've went through many situations like that myself. I mean, with Barbershop 2, trying to get my chance with Ice Cube. I remember my mom sent in so many random tapes. This is something that's so big with acting. You get that feedback and you just keep on pushing. So when you got on set and you're with Angela Bassett, and this is obviously after Willis Love got to do with it. She had already done all that, had all that great success.
Yes.
Whoopi Goldberg. What was your experience now jumping into that film side you were trying to
Once
get into?
again, I was like, okay, well, what's next? Because at the time it was, I was like, okay, I want to be the next Will Smith. Because I was looking in.
Who could be? What is the representation?
You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
was like, I want that. Because he's just black enough where he can be black, but just, but enough, but not threatening to the white people. He could cross over. And I was like, if I smile a certain way, all the white people like that, and I'm dark. So I was like, I had it all, Capricorn.
Had all mapped out. Come on, Capricorn.
I was like, do. And there's a way you want it, and then there's a way the universe sets it up.
Yes.
But for a while, I really wasn't really enjoying where I was. I was like, okay, we got this. I was expecting to get how Stella got her. I was expecting it. Like, it came too late for me.
Yeah.
I was the last one. I was in Rent. Adina, she had got a record deal. Jesse Martin had got a TV show.
Wow.
I was the last one to hit. So I was like, damn, y'all, what? I'm like, in my head, I was like, I'm more talented than all y'all, and I'm the last. What's going on? And then finally I got how Stella got her groove back, and I was like, okay, now we at the party. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then, then the black movies started coming in.
So let's talk about that renaissance. Because, I mean, we don't have...
No.
Even if I'm trying to put together what the black-led rom-com crew could be, I don't even know what it could be right now. That's no shade, no tea. I just don't know. I mean, we had an ensemble where it was like, we know it's going to be Tay. We know Sanaa going to show up. Nia might pop in. Morris going to be there. Like,
Morris,
I mean, we got The Wood. We got Brown Sugar. We got The Best Man. I mean, oh, my goodness. Again, I know you was working, but did you know those were special? Did you know that it was a renaissance happening? When you talk about Rick Famuyiwa, we talk about Malcolm D. Lee, you know what I mean? And what's my dude that did Soul Food? He was great too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I want to redo that too. Yeah. We were so I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
I was so hungry for it that we didn't know if it would stick around. We were just like, oh, let me be a part of this project because it's one of the first ones of its time.
That's right.
So, but we didn't think it would be, a movement. You know what I mean? And even when it was, we're like, oh, well, maybe this is just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then, when you're around long enough, it would ebb and flow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They would come, and then they would just not come at all. And then Tyler Perry came on the, then it was people only want to mess with Tyler Perry. So, we were
this
just
business aspect of our industry is so important. I'm curious of what you did in those lulls. Because honestly, there's also people that decide to do production companies and try to get produce their own projects or TV or whatever.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, so what were you doing in those times in between those projects?
TV.
Yeah.
That was and
private
that paycheck.
practice.
That paycheck, because it was like what you get paid during black movies at that time. Because they weren't paying us anywhere near what we should have been paid when you compare us to, and I know people hate when people
you
bring
say that,
up,
but
but it was so true. But that TV money, boom.
Yeah. It's our version of like a 9 to 5. It's our coming in and having a corporate gig of just, boom, I know I can depend on this check.
Yep. And you could be more in control.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You could really sink into a character, go to the job every day. You know all the cast members, and you have a repertoire with the writers and producers. And so it was less stressful. It was less mercurial than film. So I saw that. And that's one of the first changes where I was like, oh, I wanted to be Will Smith, but this feels good right here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to worry about, callback after callback and, the comfort and security of the TV job and being able to go to the writers and say, why don't having input?
Yeah.
All of that. I couldn't go to in the black movies you could, but I didn't know. If I had gotten like, the white movies that I was a part of, I would never have thought to go to the director and be like, well, what if my character wore a saddleback? You know what I mean? Like, I would never. But with TV, you have more of that power. So that was
I love
the first
hearing you talk
of
about that because I feel like people
pivot.
really got to know that more, that it's like, it's just about doing the thing. We can have an idea of what we think it should be or how we think we should look, but it's like, I love acting. I'm going to do it wherever I can do it at, whether that's on a stage, on a TV, on a movie set.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
We've always loved seeing you and Sanaa together.
Yeah.
The chemistry is incredible. Now, as I've gotten older and started getting into possible romantic dynamics, it is hard to have chemistry with somebody. I get so spooked and shy. I'm not shy about much, but whenever it gets to the intimacy or we're in love.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think made it easy for you guys to have such an amazing dynamic together on screen?
Oh, man. I've been really lucky. With Sanaa's just, I mean, I didn't have to really act. You know what I mean? Like, she's just so cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. Like, with Angela Bassett, she was sweet.
Yeah.
But she was Angela Bassett. I was a beginner. It was my first film. So I had to act because I didn't feel comfortable around her. She made me feel as comfortable as possible.
Yeah.
But she was Angela Bassett. Yeah. Like I had to, you're acting and you're like, oh my God, that's Angela Bassett. Like I'm supposed to be here, but you are Angela Bassett and I'm supposed to be in love with you. And you know what I mean? Like, so I was acting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Sanaa and Regina and like that, that was a testament to them we just were all so cool with each other. It was such a great time.
Oh my
So much fun.
gosh.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was
goodness.
just real easy.
Yes, I mean,
Real
Sinai said, what did I think it was in Essence 2022, that the iconic "My Divorce" line from Brown Sugar, you improv.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you probably improv so much. Again, I'm talking about the wood, anything. I mean, was that always a thing? Would they say, "Hey, do it," or would you just
I
do it
forget,
yourself?
but those directors were Malcolm Lee, Rick. They were awesome. And I was new to the game, but had come from theater, so this was what I thought it was always like. Because in
That theater
theater,
background.
yeah,
That
it really
theater
prepares you.
background.
So they just allowed me that freedom in that space,
Yeah.
and I ate it up. It was yeah. Like I wish I could have just appreciated it more then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I look back now, and those are some really good times.
Isn't that how life is,
Yeah.
though? For whatever reason, I don't know why it's that way, but it's always a little, hindsight 2020, as they say.
I guess that's how it's supposed to be. But
Yeah.
there was only a way. I'm trying to do it now. You know what I mean? But I
Yes.
won't lie, it's not as cool as it was back then. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what messed us up last time, so maybe we got to think it's hella cool right now.
Right, exactly.
Well, give me a little behind the scenes tea if you have any on Brown Sugar, because I mean, this was a movie about Black love, and as I get older, I really appreciate this so much now, seeing where hip hop has grown and how it has changed and been affected by its popularity from being taken from being this niche thing, and it's like it was a parallel of our culture as Black people, the hijacking of and the hijacking of hip hop at the same time. And so I'm curious, at that time when you were working on that, was that something that Rick talked about, or was that just you guys were trying to process what was happening in real time?
The all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. I remember talking to Most Def, and I never was a hip hop head. I just like whatever kind of music I could bop my head to is the music that I would listen to. And I would listen to Most Def, and he was rattling off names like Kanye West and all these producers, and I didn't know who they were, but the way he was talking about them, I was like, oh, this isn't just music to bop your head to. This dude studies. And he was explaining, how the rap battles, and I remember being on set when I remember this specifically. Rick Famuyiwa thought that it was not cool. He had written in the script, a rapper that used another rapper. What are they called? Ghostwriters.
Yeah, that's right.
He was like, oh, but wait, ghostwriters aren't cool. And most stuff was like, no. Some people are like, they use them, and it's not looked down upon. And Rick was like, because it didn't make sense to him.
Yeah.
He was like, you can be a real Most was like, you can be a real rapper, but then sometimes if you're going up against such and such, or you're trying to get a
particular
hit,
song off,
hit that is, appealing to the people, you go over this next dude and be like, can you, and there's no shame in that.
Yeah.
And then Rick was like, and I was like, oh, this is a whole world that I know nothing about. So that's when I started to listen to hip hop differently. And so it was all, I was like an actor.
That's right. That's what I'm hearing when you're saying
I was an actor. And then everything else, I learned, even Black culture. You know what I mean? Because I grew up, I spoke properly.
Yeah.
My mother was a teacher, and I always got called white, always got called Oreo. And that was another great thing about The Best Man. And I was around other people that spoke like me, and but were confident. They weren't ashamed of who they were. I was like, oh wow, like when I heard Sanaa speak, I was like, oh okay, but she could code switch. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, so all right, so let me just listen to how, and I got a little swag, and it's cool because they're doing it. So this feels, you know what I mean? All that. I was like, I'm with other people like me, and I could just relax. You know what I mean?
I'm so happy hearing this, because I think that's also why, maybe you also have another add-on to this, but I think that is why those movies resonated so much, because whether I'm looking at The Wood, it's a movie about brotherhood, friendship, nuance within the Black community, while also growing out of being a kid, where it's like sometimes our friends aren't our number ones anymore, and it's time to move on to love, or The Best Man, where similar type of thing, but then also we're seeing Harper's a writer, and he's an author. I had never, like, those movies, you know what I'm saying? You was a marketing record label executive in Brown Sugar.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we saw some of that with Boomerang. You know what I mean? Eddie Murphy showed us what that could look like on screen. Were those things y'all were talking about at that time, or is that really just what the world was reflecting back at you, and it was kind of normal to play roles and black people in those spaces?
I knew they existed, but that's why we were so excited to play them. But I had never seen as many. Like you said, Boomerang, and for me that was it.
That's right.
So I was okay. I can't. I'm so fortunate to let me play this role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, this is for me. I could do this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I can see myself in this role. So it was, once again, it was an amazing time. Yeah.
Without being biased, what would you say and how would you say that's missing in today's day? Meaning, you know, I can frankly say there's not a movie that I direct to say this is the sister of The Best Man. This is the sister of Brown Sugar. This is the sister of The Wood. Do you have any thoughts as an artist as to why that could be?
You know, after this social media thing, I stopped trying to figure it out. You know, before, there used to be a time when you could, you know, dissect it and it made sense. We are at a space, it's also very exciting, but it's harrowing in that I don't think anybody really knows what's going on or why things are, you know, why things are successful, why things are failing. It's like a weird time where it's like the Wild West. You know, I don't know why. I know it has something to do with fear. You know, I think people are afraid to make movies like The Best Man. Maybe they don't think it's marketable. I don't know.
Yeah.
But once again, that doesn't make sense to me.
Because those work.
This used to work.
I will say there was a thing, you know, obviously those movies were successful in the box office, but they were also successful in DVD. So I don't know, you know, obviously DVD don't exist no more. Like when you should be going and getting movies and buying them and having them. So I don't know if that it's the impact of no longer having a tangible outside thing. Is it just about it going to streaming? Because I don't even see them on streaming.
I know.
You know, so I don't know either.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I think it will reveal itself really soon.
That's right.
But what I am excited about is that people are more in control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I love the fact that you can be like excuse me, Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler.
Right?
Yeah.
Coogler, not Cooglin. You know black folk. Ryan Coogler. Coogler. He's so brilliant. Who that director, Ryan Coogler?
Because my mom does that all the time.
That's how I know I'm getting older. I'm like, what's his name? I said Joey's the other day. The restaurant Joey's. It's Joey. We meeting at Joey's tonight?
Why do we always put an S on it?
I don't know.
I don't know what that is with us.
Anyway.
Woo, anyway.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
One of the great things about these influencers, someone can go on Instagram, sing, and they get 50 million followers, and it doesn't matter what a record label said.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if an agent, you can actually make yourself, you have control over your own destiny to a certain extent. So I love that part about it.
Yeah. You said something on an interview with Cocoa Butter that intrigued me, where you sometimes didn't like to be asked about your old movies, but now you feel differently. I'm curious, when did you not like to be asked about them?
When I was focused on the future.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, I was like, okay, I'm done with that. Either tell me something good about what I'm doing now, or give me the next.
Yeah.
I don't want to know about, but that's now I know, this is how I know I've grown. Now I can accept it and I can really settle into it and feel and be proud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, when you're younger, it's like if they're talking about the old then you must not be on the new because they're talking about the old. But now I'm old enough where I'm like, you know what? Like, good for me.
Yeah, I have an incredible legacy. I'm iconic. I've shifted culture.
It's when people started saying that, where I was like, ew, oh, gee. I'll slap you. I'll give you your autograph, but don't call me that. And then, I don't know if it was after I had a kid or, I don't know. Then I started really like listening and being like, oh, wow. Oh, we weren't just working. We were setting up something that people, were it not for you, we would not have. I started hearing that, when you hear somebody say, oh, I grew up on you. At first there was a cringe. But then when it's other talented actors,
Oh my gosh.
I remember I was at this club one time. I hope I'm not blowing his spot. And Idris Elba sat down and he was like, mate. And it was like, you're this, you're that. And I was like, why are you telling me?
Because
And I had
you're
to
you.
take that in, because you know what it's like being black in this business. You gotta put on
Yes.
your helmet, put on your pads. I'm driving towards this. I got my blinders on. I can't let
Yeah.
anybody else get in because I'm going on this path.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Racism, I gotta let all that bounce off me.
That's right.
And with that, you let the compliments bounce off you, and your flowers, you don't let any of that in either. So
Because
once I
everything's a
took off
threat.
that armor, yes, you can't let anything weaken you. But once you take that armor off, it makes you better as a performer because you're more vulnerable and you can react, and you can just appreciate yourself and just really revel in what you've done and where you are in
I
the
think
moment.
people got to hear that too, especially for us, because I think it's, as Black people, while there is truth to obviously our white counterparts and how we're having to exist in any industry, when we lead with those comparisons and what we're up against on things that really we can not really quite change in totality, we don't get to appreciate what we are achieving and what we are doing, which is
Yes.
success on a grand level, no matter what color or gender you are.
Yes.
Because it's like a lot of people not even touching their dreams, let alone thriving and
I
expressing
know
and
it.
living in them. So I constantly have to remind myself that, and constantly want to, whenever I'm at the BET Awards or the NAACP Awards, like, guys, this is the here.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? All that other stuff is cool. It's great. I love it. But guys, I can't go to somebody else's mama's house and expect her to love me the way my mama is.
Exactly.
That
And
just
it
don't
didn't
even make
used to be like
sense.
that. People used to look at that like the lowest.
Which I hate.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to
It's
change
changing
that.
though,
Yes. Now, you've gone between, obviously, we talk about TV, film, theater, your whole career. And that really wasn't common. I mean, you were speaking on it a little bit before, just about how, people bringing up the past and wanting to keep you in a particular lane. And obviously, you continuously, whether intentionally or unintentionally, broken that down. Even now, with being a social influencer and even having that under your belt now, you always welcomed other spaces. How hard was it for you with your team and just in the direction of your career to make sure that you didn't get boxed in?
That's a good question. Okay, so I'm gonna tell this in a quick manner of speaking. Like, letting things happen and being comfortable where you are.
Yeah.
So things were going really, really well for me. You know what I mean? I had this confidence. I was, I felt, propelled. Things were coming very easily to me. And that stays in line with like kind of manifesting and the law of attraction and
That's
all
right.
that stuff. I knew it was gonna happen. I didn't know why, but I was like, I'm gonna get to this point. And the moment I took my eye off the ball and looked at like what white people were doing, I remember I was on the Upper West Side and I looked at this Vanity Fair. On the cover was Matt Damon.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been in like the same amount of movies as Matt Damon, but 2 of my movies had been #1. None of his had been #1 yet. And I was like, I want that. I want to be that. So it went from Will Smith to Matt Damon. So I went to my agents, stop. I don't want to mess with no more black movies. I only want to be submitted for like the white. I don't want to be the black dude in the white movie. Like, and that's climbing the ladder. That's what you do.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's what
you
they
look
said.
at all of us. That's what happens. But I was like, I got off. I was out of my bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, and my agents weren't honest enough to be like, wait, you're black. This is how you're on the right path.
For your
They're like, oh, I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. You should be. No. They were like, no. Nobody told me the business is still kind of ready. They ain't ready yet. They ain't ready. Like right now, you're the black flavor of the month. Just be cool and slowly, you'll be the black dude in the white mood. Stay right at that moment. Right when I was like the black dude in the white movies, I was like, nope. Put me in the room with the Matt Damons and the Ben Afflecks and then I switched to every agency I went through, and then I was like, what is going on? And I was like, okay. I didn't stay in my line. I didn't stay in my lane. And I was like, okay, let me just get back. And then I got a TV gig. And I was like, okay, let me go back to the original and just like feel where I am, feel what feels good, not try to be like nobody else.
This is really, really important. And I think it's so important, again, for people of color to hear this because the discrepancies are true. It's the same thing with gender. Discrepancies are there. That's not incorrect. But what do you say to the young people coming up to keep them inspired, excited, and to not feel that they're not being valued when this is the reality? Like, how do you realize and know and validate your own lane despite the circumstances?
Just be in contact with what's happening right now. You know what I mean? Like if I had just taken a minute to see where I was really enjoying myself. Go with that. Go with what feels right. But I went with where I thought I should be, as opposed to really appreciating. I was having a ball where I was.
Right.
I was CA at the top agency, CA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take a look at what's around you, and then do the math. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to just tread water for a little bit.
That's
You know what I mean?
So true.
It doesn't mean you have to completely forsake, being ambitious. But sometimes if things are working, let them work.
That's right.
What do they say? Trust the process.
Yeah.
I wasn't trusting the process. The moment I stopped trusting the process didn't trust me. You know
That's real,
it was
man.
like, boom.
That's real.
Yeah.
You've obviously had major success on TV as well. We talked about that, from Private Practice to Empire, All of the American. I just got to tell you, All American, I love seeing you on there. And I watched every season of that damn show.
That was a sleeper, boy. More people know me from that than everything combined.
It's so good, that show. I mean, who doesn't love a teen soap? So I had to shout that out.
Man, these young people. Hey, today at the basketball game. Hey, Coach Baker. Hey, Coach Baker. Can I get a picture with you, Coach Baker?
It's so
crazy.
good. It's so good. And then you also returned to Broadway with, what was it, the Hedwig and the Angry Inch?
Yeah.
How was that?
Crazy. Petrifying. The hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Oh.
But I'm going back. I'm going back next month to do Moulin Rouge. You gotta keep. Have you done Broadway yet?
I did Cinderella, Rodgers and
You
Hammerstein.
did.
Yeah, and I loved it. And I want to go again.
You need
I
to.
want to do it again so
You need
bad.
to.
Like you said. So it's funny. My parents, they started out in theater and they taught me as a theater actor, but I just jumped into film and TV first.
Well, you could, yeah.
And so but when I actually got on stage, I was like, oh, this is my zhuzh.
Okay.
This is actually, that's why I'm so vaudevillain-esque, is because I'm really for Broadway. That's actually my vibe, man. So it's like, for me, I need a multicam sitcom, something, because that straight to the audience vibe, that's me all day.
You feed off that
Oh
energy.
my gosh, yes. I want to do a game. I do a game with all my guests, and I did this one specific for you. It's called You Dig or You Don't. So pretty much, I'm going to throw you some modern day scenarios, right, about love, and you tell me which one of your iconic characters would dig it and which one would absolutely not.
The characters that I have played.
Yeah, that would dig the scenario.
Okay.
Yeah, like this would be for him, or this would be for him. And so the characters are, obviously, I'll give these to you.
Okay.
So Andre
thank you.
Ellis from Brown Sugar.
Okay,
we got Harper Stewart from The Best Man.
Okay.
Winston Shakespeare from Stella Got a Groove Bag. And Benjamin Benny Coffin III from Rent. You ready? Aren't those pictures so good?
I had hair. Look at that.
Tay, you are
I had a hairline.
But by the way, out of all of your movies, do you have a favorite one or a favorite experience? Because it could be different.
It's all for I can't, because I was so lucky. I had so much fun on every. I know I never laughed more than I did when it was a Malibu's Most Wanted. Every day.
Oh my gosh, so good too.
We laughed all day, every day.
Oh my gosh.
And that was just, I
miss those movies
Regina was
too.
in that one, Anthony Anderson.
Yep.
All day, every day. And that was like, that's when I realized if I could do this is a nice little living. If I could find something where I could be funny every day, all day, it was that.
All right, here we go. This is what we're working with. First one. Going on a first date at Cheesecake Factory. Who's digging it?
At Cheesecake
Who's not digging it?
Factory. At Cheesecake Factory? Who is digging it at Cheesecake Factory?
The repeating is giving me life.
Okay, probably Winston Shakespeare.
Yeah, he's definitely digging it. He was
Cheesecake
digging anything.
Factory. Yeah, he was. I like it here.
How is it with you with that accent? Did they give you a dialect coach?
They did. They did.
Oh my gosh.
I get a mixed reaction. Some people are like, I love that movie. The accent was way off, man, but I love the movie. And then other people are like, oh, yeah, that's spot on. Yeah.
Okay, subtweeting your ex. Who's digging it? Who ain't digging it?
Subtweeting?
Subtweet, you know what that is? So it's like if I put on my page a caption where it's like, at the end of the day, if you ain't paying, I ain't staying. But it's like to somebody I know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Who's digging that?
That would be...
You already know.
Yes.
My divorce. Because he was petty as hell. When I tell you I loved that character, he was the petty. He had to be a Virgo man.
Yeah.
Because he was petty as
He really was.
He really was. He was always on He know he didn't like that wife. Poor Nicole.
Oh, no.
He didn't want her. He was wanting Sanaa bad. And Sanaa was just doing that best friend role where she's like, no. But like, stop playing. And he's sitting up on that thing talking about, I'm going to quit my job. Oh, hell. Too good. Okay, getting left on red because of grammar in the text. Who's doing that? I think I have an idea of who would.
Getting left on red because of grammar.
Who would do this? We know who.
Meaning would my character leave somebody?
Yeah.
Oh.
Harper.
Oh, Harper, yeah.
He was
100%.
so uptight.
Yeah.
You know what I loved about Harper in The Best Man, the TV show?
She said library. She said library. How am I supposed to...
Harper was, and I love when they had that conversation with Sanaya's character on The Best Man, when you guys did the TV show.
Yes.
I loved how you guys expanded on the dynamics.
Wish we could do more of that.
Me too. I thought we was doing a second one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that the director was like, okay, this will be it. Because we were allowed to handle. We were allowed to handle. We were allowed.
Not y'all. Y'all turned it to Sex in the City.
You know what I mean? We were allowed. Yeah.
Friends. Okay, here we go. Sending a you up text at 11:11 and calling it manifesting. Shout out to my producers for these. They're very good.
That would be, is there a regular Tay Diggs? What? No, I'm just kidding. You up. That might be you up. Oh, that might be Benjamin Coffin. Yeah. That might be Benjamin Coffin.
Look at Benjamin. Hey, Benj. Okay, makeup sex after a 24-hour argument. We know who that is. I can't believe y'all don't have Roland up here. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, he was the most toxic. I think he was the most toxic character. For sure, he was. Oh, my gosh. Okay, getting a matching tattoo after the third date. We know who that is.
After the third day. Oh, right. Yes.
He was ready to leave this whole country.
Shoot. That's a little bit like me, too. So
that's
corny.
a good question. Which one of your characters did you feel you were most like?
Probably the best man. Harper. Because I was early enough in the career where I was like, oh, this guy is kind of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
very educated.
I had to do the least amount of acting with that character. Yeah.
Okay, this is the last one.
Okay.
The I'm not ready for a relationship type after consistently dating for a month.
Oh, yeah, that's probably this cat. Yeah.
That's my boy.
Yeah.
Brown sugar. Oh my gosh, Tay, I'm so glad to have had you on the show and to finally have had a conversation so you can know how deep of a fan I am of you.
That. Yeah.
Seriously, man.
And vice versa. Look at you just doing this.
Oh,
I'm listening to your vocabulary. I see you.
Please
I see you. This is not easy, y'all.
Oh my God.
This is not easy. It's
now,
like
that's
a
where
talk
Walker
show,
gets it from because you just mimicked me. That's where Walker getting it from you.
I'm very impressed. So keep it up.
Thank you so much. Give me some love. Thank you for coming on, baby.
All right.
I don't know about y'all, but those movies, The Wood, Best Man, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, and so many others literally raised me. They were my comfort watches and still are. But also, they were the culture. They showed us Black love, family, friendship, and ambition with depth, joy, and realness. And Tay Diggs was right there in the center of it all. He's one of those entertainers that's never let himself be boxed in. Broadway, films, TV, he stays booked and busy and present for his son. That's the power of versatility. You don't have to do just one thing or be only one version of yourself. You can evolve, pivot, and show up fully in any space that calls your name. And if y'all take one thing from this conversation, it's that we need to be present and receive our successes as they come. We have to sit in our accomplishments and appreciate every chapter of life. Now, I feel like it might be time for a little brown sugar rewatch. So until next time, you know it's your girl.
Baby, this is Keke.